Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Energia Park in Donnybrook in Dublin for the Women's All-Ireland League Final between Railway Union and UL Bohemians. UL Bohs, the masters of this particular competition, winning on so many occasions. It's a debut final, a maiden final for Railway Union amid blustery conditions here, which could be a factor as this game continues. Ross O'Donoghue with you from now until the final whistle and indeed the trophy presentations. Joining me, I'm delighted to welcome star of Blackrock College, Leinster and indeed Ireland, Michelle Claffey. Michelle, this is the big one.
Yeah, I think today's going to be a very special day for everyone involved. It's a massive feat here for Railway against UL, who are going for their 14th title. So it's going to be a pretty special day for one of these teams.
We've already had a cracker of a game earlier on. It was between Suttonians and Malone. That was for the right to join both of these teams in the Women's All-Ireland League for the 2019-2020 season. We're going to bring you some of that action right about now. Absolutely fantastic win there for Suttonians, as you can see, coming through in that game by 24 points to 20. A brilliant game. You'll have seen the action there. We're going to talk team news right now. Railway Union out on the pitch getting ready. That tends to be their style. They tend to not go back into the dressing rooms. Railway Union will line out from 15 to 9 as Larissa Muldoon, Stephanie Carroll, Niamh Byrne, Meg Kendall, Emer O'Mahony, Claire Keohane and Molly Scuffle McCabe. The pack from 1 to 8, Shirley Corcoran, Chloe Blackmore, Katie O'Dwyer, Siobhan McCarthy, Aoife McDermott, Emma Murphy, Emma Taylor and Lindsay Peat. And the replacements, Amy Clark, Lisa Callan, Sonia McDermott, Daisy Earle, Claire Coombs, Laura Barachetti and Erin Coll. The UL Bohemians team, which are due to join us any moment here in Energia Park, from 15 to 9, Anya Staunton, Emer Considine, Enya Breen, Rachel Allen, Laura Sheehan, Niamh Briggs and Laura O'Mahony. The pack, Fiona Hayes, Kate Sheehan, Fiona Reedy, Claire Bennett, Chloe Pearce, Adele Murphy, Clodagh O'Halloran and Sarah Quinn. And their replacements are Sarah O'Gorman, Gina Behan, Sarah Garrett, Aoife O'Sullivan, Helen McDermott, Niamh Kavanagh and Stephanie Noonan. Michelle, we can talk as the game goes on about a couple of players who aren't here today, who dearly love to be lining out for their clubs, and indeed some of them are in the stands. But we are looking at two pretty stacked teams coming out here.
Yeah, I think both teams are highly represented by Ireland, both in the 7s code and 15s code. You'll see they're littered among both teams, either current or past internationals, and it's going to add definitely something to the game today, is that they'll have the experience of these big games to add for the experience.
And even if you look at this pitch alone, the decider between Leinster and Munster, which would have been played last September, again, you would have been involved in that. On both sides, plenty of players who know what it's like not just to perform but to perform on this pitch, and that does make a difference.
Yeah, and especially to just be aware of what the pitch is like, because it's a very different surface than playing on a grass pitch. I know Railway are playing at home, they have their artificial pitch, and also UL have their artificial pitch, so it won't be anything new, but still it's a different pitch, it's different, you don't understand how the wind will swirl, so they need to get to understand this pretty quickly today.
As you see UL Bohemian coming right out onto the pitch right now. The breeze is pretty much blowing left to right. We don't have too many flags to give you for reference, but it will be blowing from left to right with a little bit of swirl in the far right hand corner, which can make things very, very interesting. And this speaks to one of the key points that we were talking about before the game, is where it's going to be won and lost. And you think the battle of the two out halves is going to be critical here?
Yeah, I definitely think the battle between Niamh Briggs and Claire Cahan is going to be how the game is determined today. Like, they both know this pitch very well, and they've both played at very high levels for Ireland. So we'll see how that goes today. I think that's the key today.
Railway Union in the huddle right now. As a team, it's not somewhere where they've been before. We already saw earlier on that UL Bohs very relaxed in posing for the team photograph there. When we talk about experience, when we talk about how it's been done before, what are Railway Union going through right now?
I think as the years gone on, they've gelled together very much so as a unit, and it's been building as well for the past 5 years. So we're going to see the efforts of the past number of years come through today for Railway.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that whilst they may be making their debut in this final, as teams on their maiden appearance goes, I don't think they'll be all that shook for nerves, it must be said. I mean, looking at Claire Cahan there, was on the bench for UL Bohs last season. She actually has an All-Ireland ladies football medal under her belt as well, so
yeah,
she knows all about the big occasion.
Yeah, but we have to remember that Railway did beat UL last year in the All-Ireland Cup final, so they have bet them.
The game is underway here, and a massive take straight off the bat for Aoife McDermott. She's got plenty of experience for Leinster and Ireland, and that's a super take right off the bat. Moving it wide, Lindsay Peat, 8 on her back today. If you've seen her play for Ireland, it's generally been with a number 1 upon her, but her mobility, her speed and her versatility as an athlete and a sports person is probably going to be coming to the fore today.
Absolutely, I think she'll be using all this versatility today in a new position for her, but also it's just play. Lindsay can play.
Yep, and she's going to take her place at the back of the scrum. The first of the day, the put-in will be to UL Bohs and to Laura O'Mahony. Of course, an interesting side game here today, the sororal battle of herself and Emer O'Mahony, who's playing in the back line for Railway Union. Both
of which played for Ireland in the World Cup tag last year, both silver medalists.
High achievers all round.
High achievers.
Good shove here, looks to be favouring UL Bohs. That's a good platform, and they look to go back to that back. Niamh Briggs, first time to get on the ball. Pass goes short, it's on the deck. But that's a good reset for UL Bohs, and they look to go through the hands.
And Laura Sheehan.
What a flyer Laura Sheehan is, but she's wrapped up by 2 big Railway tackles there. Made her Ireland debut on this pitch against USA last autumn in the November Internationals. Speaking of internationals, there's a Canadian on the pitch, and she's the one who has won the ball back for Railway Union. Emma Taylor, another seasoned operator. So it'd be unfair to say it's an edgy start here, but I think with a couple of resets earlier on and a couple of whistle blows, we're yet to see this game at full tilt.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think the set piece is something that'll be very interesting today, as both have very experienced packs and very experienced players within these packs. So there'll be a good platform hopefully for both teams to set off.
And it'll take an experienced referee to manage all of that. Helen O'Reilly, the whistleblower this afternoon, already explaining exactly what she wants out of both sets of front rows. So scrum half for Railway Union is Molly Scuffle-McCabe, one of 10 players starting today with 7's experience. And that's a big penalty win there for UL Bohs. You can hear it, it's a nice rouser for the crowd. And good thumbs up there from Niamh Briggs as she just says well done to the troops. I think we'll get a sense of where we are with the win today. Michelle, I think it's fair enough to say Niamh Briggs, best boot in Irish rugby?
Yeah, definitely. At the minute, at the club game in the AIL, she has been outstanding for UL Bohs throughout the whole season. And she's got the opportunity to show that, and she's probably led them from 10 to this final today as well.
She is indeed the top scorer in this league, but that set piece is not gone the way UL Bohs. Fiona Hayes missing that one at the front, and now it's Railway who'll take it up the middle through Emma Taylor. McDermott piling in. It's not clean right there. There's a request in there for a whistle. They're not going to get it. And Railway have the first chance to go up back. A shooter in the line does enough to bring Keohane down. And we go again. McDermott on the ball. So comfortable. It throws the skip pass to Stephanie Carroll. We saw Stephanie get some treatment on an ankle before this game. In fact, seconds before the start of this game. If she gets any space out there in that right wing, she'll be an absolute flyer.
Yeah, I think she demonstrated that in the All-Ireland Plate final for Railway against Belvo, whereby she flew up the right-hand wing and scored a great try.
We've mentioned ladies football. In terms of athletics, Stephanie Carroll actually has a silver medal in the 400 metres from the All-Ireland Schools in 2012. A certain Greg O'Shea of the recently successful Ireland men's team won a silver that day in both the 100 and 200 behind Marcus Lawler. Big tackle there from Briggs, getting up and putting in that hit on Railway's Meg Kendall. Taylor, lots of action here early on from McDermott.
There's a lot of space. There's a lot of space outside there. Oh,
that's a miscue on the dink, but it looks like they had the penalty advantage anyway. Where are you seeing that space, Michelle?
Yeah, there's a lot of space on the on the tram lines and out towards the 50-metre mark there. And if Railway can get the ball, out there, then they're going to be very dangerous because the UL defence is quite narrow. So obviously, Claire's gone here for the quick tap because the wind is just so strong. So they're probably going to continue with this throughout the first half.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be played nice and tight. Lots of ball in there from McDermott. A safe pair of hands in there, not just from her rugby ability, but also the basketball. Herself and Anya Staunton on the UL Bulls team, and a certain Louise Galvin, all winning a Basketball Ireland Super League title with UL Huskies back in the earlier part of this decade. And Fiona Hayes and Helen O'Reilly just having a chat about what's to happen next. Briggs says she wants to look at this one, it would seem. Wind is in her favour, yep. So we've a chance for the opening score in this game through Niamh Briggs.
I think the breakdown is one place that UL are excellent at, and you cannot give them a second to get in over that ball, or else it will result in a penalty and a turnover. So they're obviously going to try and capitalise from this from the very start.
I think when you look at the reputation that UL Bows have built, and when you talk to their captain Fiona Hayes, she'll talk to you about how they love to see themselves as a forwards team, and how that can build success for them. But then you look at their back line. You've got Emer Considine on the left wing there, one of a couple of players and ever present. She played all 400 minutes of the Women's Six Nations.
Yeah. And
on the other side, Laura Sheehan, who we've already seen get the gallops up in this game, and has played for Ireland at this venue as well. So there's that all-round strength to UL Bows, but can they turn it into 3 points with 6 minutes up on the clock? And there is a perfect example of the blustery conditions here. Fiona Hayes is going to have to get down and low and keep this one in check. I don't think it's the kind of thing that'll put off Niamh Briggs. She's done this one or two times before.
Yeah, I think so. On this grounds, and understands the wind, how the wind can swirl here. But just to add that, currently on this backline for UL, there's 5 current internationals or past internationals. And you can't let. And
the flags go up, and it is UL Bohemian who take the lead here, approaching the 7-minute mark in the Women's All-Ireland League final by 3 points to nil. Very early on to say whether it's deserved or not, but certainly they had that opportunity to score and they took it.
Yeah, and that's what that's kind of rugby that UL play, is that you give them a chance and they're going to take it and they're going to capitalise on your mistakes or errors, and quick.
Well, the kickoff was absolutely perfect for Railway Union at the very start of this game. What can they do this time around? Keohane gets it up. Looks like it's one for McDermott to chase again. And another take that may have gone forward. Yes, it has. The wind to their advantage there as that one hung up in the air at McDermott. Despite all those wonderful things that I've said about her, yeah. This one.
No, Aoife got in the air. I think the UL player remained on the ground, so bumped into Aoife, so that resulted in the knock-on.
We'll call that tactical noose then, I suppose. We mentioned the sisters on either side today, O'Mahony, Laura and Emer. Of course, Aoife's sister Sonia is on the bench for Railway Union as well today. But I think we'll leave the chat of the strength and depth for later on in this game.
Yeah, I think so.
She's
So we saw the last scrum that UL turned over the Railway ball, so we'll see if, again, UL retain the possession here, because Railway are defending 3 up, and if that ball can get outside there to Enya and she can release Emer, etc. out there, we'll see how they go, so which way they're going to go.
You see Briggs there with that penalty once again, but the ball is back and live, and 2 hands on the ball there from Laura Mahoney, keeping the Railway backline guessing, and there we go, looking to get over the ball again. It's Reedy this time. Good take and jam there from Claude O'Halloran for UL Bohs. It's back with the scrum half, thinks about going down the blind side, has to take it on herself. Ball is presented cleanly for Laura Sheehan. Massive fend off there inside from Chloe Pearce, another one of the international players on the books with UL Bohs. Briggs keeping that one alive. That's Enya Breen there, made her debut in the 2019 Six Nations for Ireland. In a position we must talk to Michelle Claffey about at some stage in this game.
Oh, it's a great kick from there.
That's a great kick. Good control there from Stephanie Carroll, getting down on that and getting the ball away. A little bit of work to do for Larissa Muldoon here, who just shovels it on to Chloe Blackmore. Blackmore straightens up.
Again, there's a lot of space on the far side there for Railway. There's a lot more space out there again. They need to push that ball out wide in order to take advantage of it.
That one's gone loose. Kyohan tidies it up, and now the break is on for Railway. Meg Kendall with the initial one, and here we go. So close there. There was a chance to see Carroll in full flight, but that one goes slightly behind the Limerick-born winger. So a chance for commentators and players alike to catch their breath. Probably a little bit harder for the players, it must be said. We're past the 10-minute mark here. Looks like we've got an injury out there somewhere. Could be to potentially Claire Bennett.
Laura Mahoney there is taking the knee as well.
Down, yeah.
Of it.
That one's gone loose.
So very little
up,
to
and now the break is on for Railway.
Michelle, already you've looked to point out where the space is
for Railway.
So close there was a chance.
That could have been.
To see
I think if Carroll had gotten her hands on the ball there,
that one goes slightly behind
home and hosed, but that's not how it went. In terms of UL Bohemians' approach, they very much are probing. We saw our kind of first grubber of the day there as well.
Yeah, and I think Briggs is keeping it low as well. So obviously we don't know what way the wind is going down there for her to assess. But back to the UL as well at their the Railway's attacking point. Anya Staunton did a great job of defending that. She made Meg Kendall make a decision on what she had to do, and then it was just too late. So she was waiting on her support players to come across, and that could have been a certain try. But no, Anya did a great job there.
Yeah, that potent back three of UL Bohs, knowing exactly what to do in both attack and defence. And this is a much safer option for UL Bohs. They'd lost their first line out. That was a clean take there by Chloe Pearce, and UL Bohs look to get that maul rolling. And it does appear to be gathering momentum here.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the 10-metre, their own 10-metre line. They look to get this to halfway. Briggs looks ready to call this one. And she takes reverse pass. Considine gets her hands on the ball for the first time in this game, popping up in midfield. O'Mahony, Hayes, beg your pardon, that's Sarah Quinn in there. Good confidence here. Breen getting it out to Staunton, who presents well. And there's a pod there waiting. Bennett takes it. Huge hit in there from Shirley Corcoran. She may be president of Railway Union, but there's no time for dignitaries or pleasantries with that kind of impact. Breen making sure the ball can't be ripped there. Clean presentation. Good hit. That's Lindsay Peat in there. Railway Union are soaking this up now. Hayes knows she has to take it on herself. Doesn't want to get isolated though. But it's Kate Sheehan in there to support. And that will be, for not rolling away, another ping against Railway Union.
Yeah, and I think that Briggs is trying to get Enya Breen into the game a lot more, and Enya is such a safe ball carrier. She will take that ball into contact and she'll present it really well and get the team going again. So again, it's to get UL over the ball quick, to get kind of start to get quick ruck ball, because if they get the ball out quicker, then they'll just get that momentum and get Rail on the back foot more and more.
So we have a brief pause for an injury here. Yeah, just getting back to Enya Breen there for a second. Obviously, you know exactly what it takes to play in that position at the level that she's been playing at. It looks like Siobhan McCarthy is going to be able to walk this one off, and Briggs will kick to the corner. Well, we often hear across both men's that's a superb kick to the corner there for Briggs. She got pretty much every inch out of that she could.
Yeah.
Brings UL Bohemian up to the 5 metre line. Just a quick one on, I suppose, essentially a player for whom you not just competing against for club, but with for places in international jersey. You know, we hear how how players go up against each other for, you know, there's only one jersey with 13 on the back. How do you find that when somebody's coming in, particularly in a situation where you're being taken out of the game?
No, I think once you get into an Irish camp, everyone deserves to be there, and it's about learning and making each other better. And I think that's what Enya's brought. She brought a new perspective. She's quite young as well.
Will she get on the end of this one? That maul keeps rolling.
Kate Sheehan.
The players might be over the line, but the ball isn't. And UL will have to gather and go again. O'Mahony looks to go down the blind side again. Plenty of players there. She's over the line. Is she held up? We'll have to wait and see. Well, it'll be UL Boh's ball either way. That was some classic Munster fare there, you might argue, from the Limerick club. And it looks like we're going to have a scrum on the 5. So, Michelle, do you think with this one, are they going to look to keep that ball in the scrum as long as possible? It does look like they're ready to go out wide.
It's very narrow though on the right hand side, so I'm sure they want to keep it in the scrum as long as possible and drive them over the line. But it's very unstable, so...
All of this time, just don't want it to get into either set of players' heads. You will both be focusing on one job at a time here as they look to extend their lead out as we approach the end of the first quarter here in Energia Park. It's a good shove from UL Bohs. They may look to hold on to this. O'Mahony lurking for good control from Sarah Quinn at the back there. And here we go. Ball is over the line.
Let's try.
Try is given. And UL Bohs take a commanding lead in this Women's All-Ireland League final. And it is Sarah Quinn who pops up with the ball. That was impressive. That was impressive drive there from the UL Bohs pack.
Yeah, so Sarah Quinn there, she joined UL Bohs just this year from Richmond, and she's been a really exciting addition to the back row and to the whole UL Bohs team. So we played them in Blackrock a couple of times this year, and she's been so dynamic around the park. It's just attack and defence, and she's a big ball carrier for them, and you can see that today. They know how to use that ball at the back of a scrum. Unfortunately, a lot of teams know and understand that hard too much.
Very, very hard to stop that legally in any way. Really good control from Quinn there, and you can very clearly see no need for a TMO, even if there was one. That ball is down, and it's a try Shirley Corcoran had done very, very well to get under it at the same time, but nope, that's a try there for Sarah Quinn. UL Bohs moving into an 8-0 lead here, and a chance for the extras for Niamh Briggs. It's a good strike. It may go to the right, and indeed it does. Very hard to gauge the wind here, and Briggs just a little shake of the head there, because again, within 30 seconds of either side of that kick, we had clouds and wind, and now the sun has come out once again here in Energia Park. It's an 8-0 lead for UL Bohemian, and Railway Union wouldn't want to start panicking just yet.
No, and Siobhan McCarthy went off there, and Daisy Earle has now come on for Railway, so she was involved in the November Internationals at Ireland. She's in camp. She's one of these new exciting prospects, so we'll see her impact on the game now.
A very exciting talent is Daisy Earle. A wrecking ball of a player who, as you said, was as a development player called up into the November International squad, and she can get into the game early. The Earls are a proud rugby family as well. Great to see them having a player grace what is very much the top table of Irish club rugby right here, right now. Big decision there for Railway Union, trying to work out who the guilty party is.
Yeah, so Rachel Allen just got caught there at the bottom of the ruck and didn't get to roll away, so this is a chance now for Railway to set themselves up and from their set piece.
And this would be Keohane's first kick for territory. Plays it safe there, doesn't want to be at the mercy of the swirling wind here at Energia Park. You can see there from the touch judge's flag actually just exactly how the wind is not in her favour as she looks to gain territory for the Dublin side. So Chloe Blackmore, and we see this time and time again, that late move into position, and inevitably it's Aoife McDermott with the clean take. Even when you know it's going to be hitting the number 4 for Railway Union, it can be very, very difficult to stop her.
Oh,
Claire Bennett in there doing very, very, or Siobhan McCarthy I should say. No, it is Claire Bennett.
it is Claire.
Doing it. Interestingly enough, Claire Bennett, the only player on the starting 15 for UL Bohemian who hasn't played for Munster Rugby, and that's only because she was under 18 last year. Just shows the high level to which Bohs operate and the close ties with the province.
Oh.
And this one's gone out wide. If it can be kept in play, that's all you could argue that Emer O'Mahony could do there, was to keep that play alive and hope that Larissa Muldoon would be able to get in onto it. And well, Muldoon's not altogether happy about that one. Haven't seen too much from her in possession thus far. Right idea with them, with that loop skip pass, but again with the conditions down there.
Yeah, you can't really on a day like today, as much as you want to and as much as Railway play that kind of game, I think they have to really play the elements today and play a bit safe. And as Fred, to your point there to Larissa, she hasn't really got the ball today because both teams are playing quite tight because they have to.
Bearing in mind that Muldoon has both the skill set and the experience to drop into 9 as well. She's a player who's used to getting her hands on the ball. Another big push here from UL Bohs. Definitely edging the battle of the scrum here. And Quinn controlling that one there. Again, as they bring it up towards their own 10-metre line. Very clearly dominating there, and a high five from Briggs to Quinn there. Quinn has had a massive impact on this game so far.
Yeah, massive. And like Fiona Hayes, it's gone, yeah. Fiona Hayes has been working around the park really hard as well.
Yeah, so looked for just a second there like Railway might have kept that one in play, but I think Keohane just had a foot in touch as she jumped up to catch that one. Again, Briggs trying to squeeze every inch out of this. Number 16 on your screen there is the UL Bohemians hooker, but it is in fact the starting hooker for that game, which is of course Kate Sheehan. Call from Hayes goes to the middle of the line out. It's missed, and it's a lot of work going to be done here, but looks like we're back. Was that a knock on?
There's a knock on there by Emma Taylor. Yeah, the urgency to get to the ball and the overthrow. bit of a risky strategy for UL to go so far into the line out there, given the wind.
Well, they'd missed that first one. They'd thrown to the 4 in the second one, and it does appear to be a bit of a lottery at the moment, but it has worked out in their favour, because the one area where any one team has been utterly dominant in this game so far has been the UL Bulls scrum. Really has been the difference between the sides, given that in open play there hasn't been too much to separate them, and yet the champions with an 8-0 lead, and once again O'Mahony looks to go down that blind side. The ball is alive there through Adele Murphy. Murphy, a Kerry woman.
If you just look on the far side there, Emer Considine is quite flat there, so it could be a prospect of a crossfield kick here, given the conditions of Briggs.
Yeah, there's actually a parallel line there between Briggs and Considine. That's clearly what her line is, but big carry here, and there's a contestable ball there inside the 22, but Railway have it back, and it's Muldoon who will look for the clearing kick. Didn't get much on it. It's Considine, ladies football style, 2 hands above her head up to try and gather that one, but it's knocked forward. Yeah, 2010, Emer Considine played a ladies football final for Clare, and she was beaten by 6 points by a Dublin side featuring the number 8 for Railway Union this afternoon.
Right.
Miss Lindsay Peat. We mentioned Adele Murphy in there. She's also a ladies footballer. Reached an All-Ireland final with Kerry in 2012. We should probably talk about some rugby at some point with all these other sporting references.
Just there taking a knee is Clodagh O'Halloran from UL. She's been a fantastic player for UL this season, and also just in the lineouts, she has been their go-to for a lot towards the season whenever we played the man from Blackrock, and it's kind of like watch the blue scrum hat, and she's just been incredible around the pitch, so she's been a nice addition as well to the starting team in UL.
Don't want to be dredging up difficult memories here, Michelle, but having reached a couple of cup finals in recent years, one of the things that was evident from talking to the likes of yourself and coaches with Blackrock College was the effort of having something new to produce on a big day when there's silver on the line. Yeah. It doesn't really seem like that kind of day today, though.
No, I think both teams are going to play to their strengths and what they've been used to playing all year. I don't think today is a day to try something new, maybe on a dry day with less wind they would have. But no, I think the strengths here today will be UL's scrum to push forward, but Railway need to really capitalise on the space that's out there, because UL are defending quite narrow.
Yeah. Important to remember as well that UL Bohs for pretty much all of this season have been playing their game on a 4G pitch in the University of Limerick North Campus. So they're no strangers to this one. That's Considine in the 22, took the ball high from Briggs and is bundled into touch. We've seen Considine pop up in the middle on set plays. She is definitely a player that UL Bohs want to get the ball to.
Yeah, absolutely. But just there, I thought there was a knock-on from Railway Union. It looked like the UL Bohs players were calling for it, but obviously let the play continue. Now Railway have this line out just 15 metres from the try line, so they'll have to play it safe to Aoife McDermott.
That's exactly as Michelle predicted there. Bring it down. They've gone for the maul option here. They do have a couple of comfortable kickers in the backfield should they wish to clear their lines, but for the moment they're happy to hold on to it. Emma Taylor in there bossing things. Is she going to get run out of play? She is. The ball isn't. That's Corcoran there on the deck keeping this one alive. We've had a mistake in there. Ball is back to UL Bohs. That's a tricky one in there. Railway Union had chances to clear their lines if they wanted to do, unable to control possession there.
Yeah, and it looked like Railway Union were getting set to exit, potentially just a phase earlier, maybe 5 seconds earlier would have worked out.
Now, when you talk about experience and winning experience in particular, the ability to punish mistakes is one that rings true time and time again. If that's something that UL Bohs can look to do here. They have a scrum. Influential Sarah Quinn at the back there. You can also see in the midfield it's hands out and ready. If the likes of Enya Breen is called upon. The drive continuing, it's wheeling a small bit here, starting to get messy. Looks like that's Quinn there cleaning it up. I get confused between the strawberry blonde forwards of UL Bows, but nevertheless, they're up to within 10 metres of the Railway Union line. Bennett, big hit. Reedy in support. Bennett very hard to put down here. He's back with Briggs. Here we go. UL Bows just starting to move through the gears here. They're within 5 metres. Pete is in there contesting. Has she won it back? It's still with Bows, bundling towards the line. And we go back to the 5 metre. Yeah, nothing fancy, just strong players and simple plays in there. And UL Bows have another chance to execute off a scrum.
There are opportunities now here, I suppose, for UL Bows to use their backs because their scrum has set a good platform for them. And I think you'd want to get Enya Breen on the ball a bit more, and then you've Emer there on the blind side. But just even Rachel Allen, she's been incredible all year, so we just need to get them to get the ball out to the backs because they have the platform there.
You can see Muldoon has just run out of shot there, making sure that if that happens, that it won't happen. But Briggs has gone down the near side. Back inside, Considine there in support. O'Mahony's going to try and dig this one out for another play. Second rows in waiting for a big carry. No, it's a pick and jam. Within 2 metres now, Bowes getting there. Oh, very nearly down on our side. And that is shunted into touch there. Good defence, Railway Union. Perhaps the wrong decision from UL Bows.
You know, I have to commend the Railways' defensive effort here. They've kind of been camped on this line a couple of times during the first half, and they've just really managed to keep UL Bows out. And UL are doing what they do best, which is their pick and goes.
Emma Murphy took the line out clean. Emma Taylor didn't take that pass quite so well. And you just get the sense here what Railway Union wouldn't give for a clean exit. And Niamh Byrne, captain of Railway Union, having a quick word with Helen O'Reilly in there. You could argue differing styles of captaincy for both UL Bows and Fiona Hayes, and Niamh Byrne outside centre for Railway Union. But here comes the UL juggernaut, getting that shove on. Better resistance perhaps from Railway Union this time, but it's starting to gain momentum now. O'Mahony trying to dig it out. Good tackle in there. Railway's defence holding tough. Chloe Pearce with Corcoran getting in there to scramble and keep it dirty. The back row starting to rumble now for UL Bows. 2 metres from Railway's line. Will it go to a Hallard? The step inside. Big tackle. Union still holding firm. Bows with options either side. They go left with Bennett. Closer still. Corcoran still managing to fend off UL Bows. They go again. Briggs, quick pass outside to Considine, going for the corner. Closer and closer. UL Bows are getting to extending their lead. Doing exactly what we had suggested they would be doing, which is getting the ball into hands of Emer Considine. A very difficult player to knock into touch. Strong player, good core strength.
Emer can finish from 5 metres out. You know, it's what she does best. So,
do Bows have confidence in their line out? It's contested. Daisy Earle was looking for a sniff on that one. We'll wait and see here. It's reversed. It's a good take in there from Emma Murphy, another seventh player.
Lindsay.
Pete with the massive fend in there.
Big.
And they need to be smart here, Railway Union. It's McDermott this time, looking to play their way out of trouble. And that's a big decision for the Dubliners. And just when they wanted to take it quick and clean, Emma Murphy said, "Hold your wished." It's unlikely those are the exact words she used, but nevertheless, it's Keohane standing over the ball.
I think Rail would just be happy now to get out of their own 22.
They've been under the cosh for the last 5 minutes or so. And that's an effective exit. And Chloe Blackmore. And we'll see again here the quick meeting, the late arrival. And it looks like McDermott may be a lifter on this one, and indeed she is. It went to Murphy that time. Ball straight over the head of Lindsay Peake, but it does find Taylor, who has Sarah Quinn for company. But Railway Union are out of their own 22. And now they'll go to the back line. Keohane plays it inside.
It's Meg Kendall there.
Meg Kendall. We're told that that particular Kiwi didn't even play rugby before she came to Ireland. She was a cricketer by trade. Taylor, the Canadian. UL Bohs have a good line of defence here on the 22. What can it take to unpack it? Pete trying to not look guilty of potential obstruction there. It's McDermott. It's a very good carry there by Katie O'Dwyer for Railway Union. Muldoon steps into the out half position. Good speed here and a great break from Meg Kendall. How far can she go? Railway up to the halfway line. Ball is back. McDermott waits. Steps right. Carries forward. Goes to ground. And this is quick ruck ball. And that space that Michelle Claffey had been telling you about earlier in this game is exactly where Railway Union tried to expose, but doing so knowing that the ball will come back if it didn't work out. That's better from Railway Union.
Yeah, and I think they're starting to get the ball out to the space out on the wings. Like Meg Kendall there made a fantastic week. Meg, a flanker, second row. She played second row for Leinster in the Interpros at the start of the year. I think she dislocated her elbow in that game, but great to see her back, and she's been playing more and more in the centre for Railway this year.
So when you consider how close UL Bohs had come to the line, and to find Railway Union kicking for territory out of their own half with 35 minutes played on this clock, you'd sense if Railway wanted to feel in this game, they'd want to get something on the scoreboard before halftime.
Yeah, they've soaked up a lot of pressure from UL Bohs in the first 35 minutes of this game. And you think, or you would have hoped that UL could have capitalised more on all their chances, but the Railway defence has been fantastic.
Yeah, and it does look like Muldoon is going to be operating in a more central role. We mentioned about her ability to operate at scrum half. Fiona Hayes a little bit
of indiscipline started to creep in from the UL Bohs side.
I think just certainly wouldn't have. She was pretty explicit herself this time that she'd come in through the gate. A little bit of after is happening just off your screen, actually. A little bit of niggle creeping into this game. Molly Scuffle McCabe for Railway Union refusing to concede on any level to what UL Bohs are doing them today. And I think all of Keohane's kicks, and it can be difficult there, right-handed, right-footed kicker kicking to the right touch, they all tend to go off the right side of the boot, but it does mean she's finding safe touch. And here's Corcoran. Murphy this time. Pete taking it at speed, steps left and right but goes to ground, finds an extra metre when she gets there. Scuffle McCabe trying to dig it out.
Daisy Earle here looking to get the ball, but she's on her own. She needs someone else with her. Emma Taylor's there with her now.
She's a strong ball carrier, and this is good for Railway Union. We haven't seen them here for the guts of at least 30 minutes in this game.
It's a quick ruck ball as well from Railway. It's really given them a good platform here.
Keohane.
It's Neve Byrne.
Byrne at the back there. It's been critical. It's exactly right. That quick ruck ball has been absolutely central to this territory. But it's Taylor with the strong carry now.
The space here in the blind.
Scuffle McCabe goes left. Oh, and it's dropped at the crucial moment. Has it gone forward?
Advantage out to Helen for UL there, from Helen Riley.
Yeah, it looks like Meg Kendall just wasn't able to dig out that pass. But that is much better from Railway Union.
Yeah, from we can see, the Railway attack, they benefit so much from the quick ruck ball, and that's kind of the platform, the quick tempo, high tempo rugby is what they love to play.
That's certainly that. I mean, it is the work that the support players have been doing at the ruck. Because Scuffle McCabe is going to get in there and get it either way.
She's getting clean ball, which is vital for her to move that ball to Kyo.
So we're approaching half time here. Territory's good, but it won't win you a game. And Railway Union are going to want to give the ball back, and that's a better scrum from them this time. Could this be loose? Quinn still somehow. And a massive reversal there. What a time for Railway Union to produce a scrum like that. UL Bohs were under massive pressure.
Yeah, and even the Railway coach here was screaming for Emer Manny to drop because he could see that Briggs was could see the space at the back, but no, turnover to Railway.
Well, one thing at a time. We've got lots of people tuning in from all over the world, it must be said. They're in the Isle of Man, they're in Washington DC, they're in the north of Italy, they're in Tenerife. Credit to whoever's in the Isle of Man watching this game. Not quite as exotic as the rest of them, but you're just as welcome all the same. Railway Union at the back, win the penalty. And they're applying the pressure now. You get the sense that it's time to deliver.
Bit of shift in momentum here in the game now towards Railway. So if they can go in with a score on the board at half time, it'll be critical for them in how they start the second half too.
Yeah. Kyohan much more assured in kicking to touch there. Gets back into position. Corcoran waits to lift. The second rows will be last. The call is whispered from Pete. It's to the back, to McDermott. They're going to look to maul. You've got a full back in that maul. It looks like they're going to try and push it all the way.
There's advantage there.
Hand is out. Will they keep it where they have it?
Yellow card coming here, is there?
Card
coming here for UL Bohs.
Starting to get a little bit more persistent here. And who's that? That's Fiona Reedy who gets the line. 10 minutes in the bin for her. Critical for the end of this first half. Could have a big effect on the start of the second as well. This is a massive moment in this game for Railway Union. Chloe Blackmore's darts have been pretty good so far. This one, just the same. It's as you were. It's a carbon copy of the last one. With Muldoon and Scuffle McCabe at the back options if they need to do it. And that's where they're going, but the shove is still on. Muldoon will go herself.
Chloe Pierce.
She's pushed back. Kyohan now at the base. Taylor. What can Railway Union do here? Keeping it simple, keeping possession. They know they need something out of this. Doesn't look like they'll be doing anything else anytime soon. Is that Emma Murphy who's getting ever closer?
I think Railway.
Here we go!
Yeah.
Try given! And Railway are right back in this game, and it's Shirley Corcoran. The right player in the right place at the right time, and that is a huge score for Railway Union. There's just a kick of the ball between the sides. This is a much changed, much developed Railway Union side. That's a player who's been around to see every single bit of it.
Yeah, I think Shirley, a former Blackrock player, she set up Railway, so she was one of the initial people to set the club up. So it's fantastic for her to get to try today, and also I think it might be her last game for Railway. So I'm sure she'll want a very good result today, and you can see the passion in her face here.
Well, she's given the vociferous crowd here in Energia Park a ticket to the gun show, and she's taking the plaudits from her teammates, but that won't be enough for her. She doesn't just want to be in a final or compete in a final, she wants to win a final for this club. And we again check to see what the flags are like, and it does appear to be a small bit calmer here. It's Kyohan with a difficult effort. Ball standing up right off the tee. Good connection. And it just looks to have spun back at the last minute. And so, but still, just a boot of the ball between the sides. And the half-time whistle has blown with it. So, we're at the halfway mark in the Women's All-Ireland League final, and it is UL Bohemian 8, Railway Union 5 points. We spoke beforehand, neither of us wanted to call this or make any predictions, and that's exactly how it's borne out.
Yeah, and both teams have played so well, and it's been tight, as in they haven't spun the ball out wide. But I think Railway have found a few more pockets of space in the way that they're when they have plenty of advantage, they're kicking. Like you see, it's a kick there from Molly, it's a kick there from Claire. So they're playing. They're going to play high risk rugby, but at the right time. So that'll be critical for them in the second half. But UL, I think they'll be disappointed they didn't convert more scores in the first half. Like they were down at 22 for a long time, and Railway sucked up a lot of pressure, and they didn't make any mistakes. And I think it was UL have given away a couple of penalties. Now they've got the yellow cards, so it's a bit of indiscipline across from them, which you kind of be disappointed with. But Railway, so disciplined in that line, it's great effort.
If you look back to the semi-final for Railway Union that got them here, a strong start to the second half was critical in them pushing past Old Belvedere in the way that they did. They'll look to do the same thing, and they'll be doing so with their player advantage for at least the first 7 minutes of that second half.
Yeah, and we're going to see that what UL's strength is their scrum and their forward pack. Now they're down one, so we're going to have to see what kind of way they come back at the start of the second half. They're going to be missing Fiona Reedy for at least 8 minutes of this half, and if, as you said, Railway are a good second half team and they start second half well, UL could really miss Fiona Reedy for this.
Well, we will leave you to digest the first 40 minutes of action here at Energia Park. We'll be back with you very, very shortly here for the second half of the Women's All-Ireland League final, with UL Bohs leading Railway Union by 8 points to 5. So great to have so many of you tuning in from so many different parts of the world, from such far-flung places as Coleraine and Puerto Vallarta in Mexico, California, Albany. You're very welcome to comment on both our YouTube and Facebook channels to let us know where you're watching from and who you're supporting for this, the Women's All-Ireland League final between Railway Union and UL Bohs. Ross O'Donoghue with you here for the second half of this game, still joined by Michelle Claffey. Very glad you've decided to stick with us for the second half, Michelle. Thanks for that.
Thank you. So again, you can see here Railway are really going to put UL under pressure with their kicking game, and they've got Stephanie Carroll there to chase up on the wing, and nice. Romani on the far side.
Yeah, nice step there from Anya Staunton as well. We haven't seen too much of her in this game, but she's exactly the kind of player who knows how to take a chance when it comes her way. Adele Murphy, the big carry, taking on two of the Railway Union pack and coming out perhaps on top, you might say. Quinn has had a massive game in there. Sarah Quinn, at David Quinn, we don't know if it's a relation or not, has been very much supporting her on YouTube. Here's Niamh Briggs, swap back inside, Enya Breen on the ball, steps to the right, Taylor wraps it up, and it's back to halfway with Briggs. Goes back to Considine, now popping up on the right hand side. Laura Sheehan in there. So the two wingers in close proximity for UL Bohs.
Straight away in the start of the second half, UL Bohs with their rucks are getting a lot quicker, so I think they understand that they need to create this quick ruck ball for themselves in order to capitalise on the space.
You get the sense as well that they might be happy to keep ball in hand as they look to...
Great line by Enya Breen.
Enya Breen, absolutely effortless, tries to get the ball away, maybe should have gone to ground with it. But Bohs are trying to play the numbers game as well. They know there's somebody down. Best way to play with 14 players is to have the ball and 14 players. Yeah, we must give a shout out to the many clubs that have played their part in developing these players, and indeed we've seen it before that there are players from different parts of the world and different parts of Ireland who've come together to play for both UL Bohs and for Railway Union. One such club you'd have to give credit to would be Richmond. This is certainly, I know, with Stephanie Carroll, this is her first season in Ireland League, having played with Richmond last year, and indeed Sarah Quinn would be a proud Richmond woman as well. I was only down there last week myself to see how they were getting on for Team Limerick Cleanup. A very house-proud club they are down in the Canal Bank there in Limerick. Pete
That's
with
a
the
great carry from Lindsay.
Yeah.
She's really setting this up for Kyo to... And again, here's Emer Romania in the wing.
Keohane getting way more out of that than
Brilliant.
you'd expect. And that's the win that we're talking about. This may go all the way to touch. That is quite the relieving kick there from Claire Keohane. Makes all of 50 metres for Railway Union and takes them into UL Bohs half. You get the sense, and indeed the wind is playing that way as well, as you can see from the spin and the flight of the ball. We might see a few more of those before the second half is out.
I think that could be the plan here for Rail in the second half. That was fantastic, absolutely, from Claire Keohane to get that ball so far down the pitch. Then we'll see how the UL Bohs react to this.
Now, again, we've said, and UL Bohs won't call it a trick play, but certainly going to the front there as they look to shore up what has been an unreliable set piece for them so far in the line out, and it hasn't worked out for them this time either. Somebody in there is not releasing.
I think they just put too many players into the initial line out, and then Sarah Quinn got isolated on her own.
So Keohane takes a look. A little dink there. And you can see as well, one of the things that Railway Union like to do with their line out is get it ready quickly, although it does look like is Lindsay going to whisper this call, or no, they know exactly what they're doing?
It's an interesting setup from Railway. Lindsay's at the front and then Shirley's right behind her.
Yeah. And indeed, Pete with the call there. But a couple of significant options in there. But they've lost that one. That one was to McDermott, but UL Bohs got in front of that one. And now they get a chance to clear. That's a massive carry in there, trying to see who it is. It's Claire Bennett.
Rachel Allen. And here goes
we
Enya.
Go. Breen
and
goes
the ball
wide.
to Staunton.
That's Staunton. Goes out to Considine. Considine sees Larissa Muldoon in front of her, but it was Carol who caught her from behind. Muldoon trying to contest that one. Nice miss pass there from Briggs. This is messy, but O'Mahony has it. To Fiona Hayes. Thought about popping it on there, but went to ground instead. Briggs calling again. 2 players on the outside. It goes to Sheehan in space. She's a player who knows where to find it and how to exploit it, and it's UL Bohs out of their own half on the attack.
That was a very good exit by UL, and look how far they've got up the pitch. Like, great speed by Laura Sheehan.
Yeah.
I think on the pitch there is Sarah O'Gorman. She's a new up-and-coming under-18 from Munster from last year. So that's just her taking the ball on there.
Yeah, one of 3 under-18s from last year in this side alongside Enya Breen and Claire Bennett. Briggs, Hayes. And that's a super take in there as Enya Breen straightened up well but left the ball after her in the tackle. This is Railways to lose now. Blackmore at the back. Muldoon, McDermott.
Great clear up by Lindsay Pete there.
Very different game from the one which preceded it between Malone and Suttonians. These sides trying to hold on to this for longer phases. Look who's on the go. No foot and touch there. Railway Union on the break. Can they go? Kyohan has the speed, but is well covered by players and is shunted back out of the 22. Super break there up the left-hand side for Mima O'Mahony. It goes wide again. Kendall steps back, takes the tackle from Considine.
It's a lot of space on here in the right wing for
and it's there. But the screams and the high fives are for the Red Robins, who've won this one back when they were exposed. You saw it there. Somebody like Steph Carroll with an absolute acre of space to run into if she could be found. It wasn't the case. And now Niamh Byrne is negotiating with the referee over where this one is going to go. We have a nice pack out in the pitch.
I think it's Rachel Allen just getting a bit of attention there.
Walking wounded there. Chance to take some water on board as well. Meg Kendall is getting some attention as well. This has been an attritional
Quick tap
game.
taken there by Briggs. Time is off. Time.
I don't think Briggs was aware that Meg Kendall was getting attention there, but she was super keen to go for this one. And it looks like there'll be, well, that's interesting now, the option to tap this
and
one.
And Laura tapped it.
And a little bit of confusion here as to what exactly is happening. Briggs had put the ball down to Laura Mahoney and said, you get us going on this one. I'll be the backup. But they need to be very, very sure. Now the ball is in play. And it goes to Hayes. Gets it on to Bennett. Bennett in an arm wrestle there with Niamh Byrne. Byrne does well to hold up the second row. Here's Quinn.
And you find the space there now.
And it looks like Quinn has taken a pretty significant bang to the head there, but play continues nonetheless. And it's an absolute mess in there as O'Mahony can't get away from McDermott. And very difficult to see here, but you can tell from the way that UL Bohs are playing.
If UL come this side, there we go.
Very difficult to put boot and ball in this. Say again, Michelle.
Sorry, just again, there's a lot of space here on both sides of the wing. If there's big, quicker ruck ball.
Sarah Garrett on the pitch for UL Bohs. Trying to see if Fiona Reedy did in fact return to play, and it doesn't look like she did. Well, no. Here we go, and that is Fiona Reedy coming back out there. So UL Bohs back up to their full complement of 15 players. Reedy, a very important player for both UL Bohemians and Ireland. She featured in all 5 games, starting 3 of the Women's Six Nations Championships.
And Sarah Gorman just leaves the pitch when the return of Del Murphy and Fiona Reedy for the UL Bohs.
Also coming into the game, number 20, Helen McDermott, is going to be coming on. Player making way there, struggling.
So Niamh Cavan has just come on there for UL Bohs, and Rachel Allen's coming off.
Big changes being made here. So we are into that. We are testing the strength and depth, certainly for UL Bohs, as Rachel Allen seem to be
Niamh Cavan is there. It's a very experienced international.
I mean, in terms of a player to bring off the bench, that's as good as you're going to get.
It's pretty good. Niamh Cavan is a very strong Offaly woman there to be thrown in at inside centre.
I figured that mention would come up at some stage.
No, I might have played underage football for Offaly with her.
It's an interesting point, actually. You know, we mentioned in the first half a couple of different sports that have been part of players' journeys to here where they are in terms of rugby, and it's great to see any young women playing as many sports as they possibly can. But you look at how the sport is changing as well, and you go back to Kildare RFC a couple of months ago, there was the National Under-10 Festival, you know, with 16 teams, and that in 10 years' time you're going to have 20-year-olds not taking up a rugby ball for the first time, but playing this sport for half their life. That in itself would be incredible.
Yeah, and I think that's you have to look at the age profile of those who played football for so long and then took up rugby, because rugby wasn't available when we were younger. This goes from Emer Manning.
Number 17 for Railway Union, Lisa Callan, fresh onto the pitch, fresh into the game. Huge impact there. And still it's with Railway. This is Pete.
And Emer Manning then goes back out into her wing after that unbelievable break down the middle of the pitch.
That was Emer, beg your pardon. It was her who made the break there. Getting awful excited here because Railway have a chance. We've seen what they've done the last time they got into the 22. They stay there. They made it count.
Tip on there to Katie
Big
O'Dwyer.
carry there from Railway Union. Katie O'Dwyer. Super line there from Emer Manning, must be said. Scythed in off her wing. And and neither Pete nor Briggs are happy with that particular exchange. Pete will feel like she was taken out of the game as McDermott looked to offload. Scuffle McCabe wrapped up here. And the whistle is sounded. And that was a very interesting exchange there between two wily characters, shall we say. Both went to ground. You could argue that Briggs was employing a little bit of the dark arts there, but it was timely nonetheless. Yep, so it turns out I can't tell the difference between the number 11 and the number 17, but just to point out that Lisa Callan has indeed come onto the pitch for Railway Union. You know, when we were looking earlier on at the options that we had, we did say that Daisy Earle was going to be an impact player for them, but she was called into action much sooner than anticipated.
I think Meg Kendall, the 12 for Rail there, she's stole 2 balls from UL. She's ripping them as her support player is tackling. So, I don't know, it's another dimension to add to the Railway defence, is that they are active before even the breakdown occurs.
And it is a penalty to Railway Union. Chance to level up this game here. 52 minutes played. Claire Keohane, a confident and assured kicker. And Keohane makes no mistake, and the sides are level here in the Women's All-Ireland League final. 8 points to 8, Railway Union plays UL Bohs. You know, even chatting with Michelle Ring, the team manager for UL Bohs, right before the start of this kickoff, she was happy to accept that yes, her team looked confident, but you know, and were confident in themselves, but also didn't deny why anyone would suggest that this game was too close to call. And here we are, you know, with a full quarter of this game still to go in the sides. You know, with we've had 4 scores, we've had 2 tries. There's very little between these teams.
And I think you can see UL's experience of finals here, but also Railway are so excited to play in this first ever final for them.
Yeah, and to be fair, that excitement isn't necessarily nervous energy. They're putting it all into their performance.
Yeah.
Here they go again. That's a decent carry in there to straighten up and settle things down. And Scuffle McCabe may look to go to the boot of Claire Keohane. And here she is. And we're seeing there's an extra 10 or 20% on that one. But that's a good take by Laura Sheehan, who's going to look to run this straight back. The tackle from Keohane and the support of Emma Murphy in there. Murphy had a huge say on the semi-final, scored a try from deep, and she's been going about her business quite well here. It's Niamh Byrne and Meg Kendall coming up. I think that's another steal there for Kendall, actually.
Yeah, and I think the UL Bows are looking at the next phase of play before they had retained that ball, because they had their pod set up, they're ready to go, but they need to get in and get that ball back from that ruck.
Well, if we're going to mention other sports, and we might as well mention Paki Bonner versus Wim Jonk in USA 1994. Another example of a player who was thinking one step too far ahead. We all know how that one ended up. Big thanks to everyone who's continuing to send in their texts to both our broadcasts on Facebook and YouTube. We've had Turkey checking in, we've had Italy checking in, and plenty more besides. NYC, the latest person to say hello.
Lisa Callan's in there now for Chloe Blackmore. First put into the line out.
Pete in space, barrels straight up, and it looks like Helen McDermott has taken her down. That one was too far out in front of Muldoon. Tried to react quick and keep that ball alive.
The first collision there between Lindsay Peat and Eve Kavanagh. I think both of them will put in a massive defensive effort as well and attacking within the teams. I think Niamh Briggs will be eager now to get the ball out the backs, because in the first half they had a good platform with the scrum, and then it got a bit wobbly towards the end of the first half. So I think either Niamh Kavanagh or Enya Breen will be getting this ball once clean off the back of the scrum.
Lindsay Peat going for the catapult technique on the back, but it's UL Bows who come away with this one, and it is indeed Niamh Kavanagh on the ball. We've a lot of this game for the last while has been played between the two 10-metre lines. May you suggest that both teams starting to realise what's at stake here. A couple of handling errors starting to creep into the game as well. Muldoon for Railway, and this time Fiona Hayes for UL Bohemian.
I think Fiona was there creeping up a little to be a bit flatter to receive that ball from Laura O'Mahony, but the wind just took it a bit too much from her.
Yeah. And it looks like we have a player making their way for Railway Union. The try scorer for the Dubliners, Shirley Corcoran. All smiles, massive applause, and a big hug too as she makes her way off the pitch.
So Amy Clark has just joined the front row there for Railway Union. She got her 3 caps for Leinster 2 years ago on the wing, so she's been converted from the winger into a front row hooker.
That's significant versatility there. So we'll have to see exactly how that front row is going to shape up now. But Corcoran's race is run. She had an absolutely huge first half. Was standing up to UL strike runners whenever she needed to. And showed all her grit and determination to score that try right before half time. So no score in the second half so far, almost 20 minutes of it played at this stage. UL, of course, a player down for the first 8 minutes of that. Although they did own the ball for most of those 8 minutes, and that's probably why we didn't notice. Or why it wasn't as apparent that they had that player advantage. But they've come out the better of Helen O'Reilly's whistle on this occasion. Interesting to see what they're going to do here, facing into the wind. No problem at all for Niamh Briggs. Brings the Limerick women up towards the 22. You can see there again on that flag from the touch judge on that far side. That's Katie that's
Kate Sheehan.
That's Kate Sheehan.
Yeah.
Well, no, the touch judge is one of the foremost opinions on Irish Rugby. And a regular contributor to IrishRugby.ie. But she's pure neutral, obviously, on this occasion. But you can see from her flag, I was trying to say, that breeze still is a significant factor in this game. Really interesting to watch.
Blocked down there from Chloe Pearce and Larissa Muldoon.
Scuffle McCabe and Larissa Muldoon both so close to the ruck there. Solid block down. Keohane looks to clear, but this one could fall. Indeed it does. And Considine has some space here, goes for the kick. Might have the pace, and everyone on this pitch bar Steph Carroll, who's bundled over there, and this one's still alive. Briggs and Considine reorganising here against the exit. It's Scuffle McCabe kicks this one. It's not blocked. It's a super kick from Scuffle McCabe, bringing Railway Union all the way up to the halfway line. And you can see the frustration down there between Briggs and Considine that one has gone as far as it has.
It was a great take there from Anya Staunton. Anya was on the West Clare Waves AFL team that won over in Amsterdam, the European Championships. So more sporting backgrounds here on the pitch.
Yeah. Really good play there, and it was smart from Considine. She wasn't going to be able to go the long way around Carroll, but couldn't beat her on the inside with a grubber kick either. Sheehan, and that one's missed, and Scuffle McCabe should be straight onto this one. Keohane instead has to fend. We're into the final quarter here. The intensity is ratcheting up. Bit of a seatbelt there on Aoife McDermott. Play continues nonetheless, although O'Reilly's hand is out for that high tackle. Kendall now with the grubber through. This game is starting to open up. And will we go back? Indeed, we'll go back there for that high tackle on Aoife McDermott. And taking a look around the pitch here. Yeah, there's a couple of players there starting to suck diesel.
That's just very, very much how Railway play. When they have penalty advantage, they will try something with it rather than just try and play to wait until the ref gives them the penalty. They will try things like Claire Keohane, Meg Kendall, they're putting little dinks through.
Let's see how much she can squeeze out of this one. Yeah, safe as houses. Just outside the UL Bohemian 22. And number 17 for Railway Union, Lisa Callan.
Lisa's come up through the under-8 structures in Railway, so she's been playing there for a couple of years. Herself and Emma Murphy.
Takes the call from Lindsay Peat. And has to be said at this point that the line out is proving unreliable for both sides, such as the conditions here. The intensity of the game too, must be said, and the occasional reminder of what's at stake. Briggs claps the hands, goes looking for the ball. It's straight up. That's a huge tackle in there from Taylor, putting UL on the back foot here, and this time Briggs opts to take it on herself. She's taken her team outside of the 22. 17 for UL Bohemian. Gina Behan at scrum half there for that one only.
UL are without their scrum half the minute. Laura Mahoney's down 22, mind her ankle.
But they're offloading their way up to the 10-metre line. This is good play into the wind. Briggs gets it out to Bennett. Reedy. Oh, the show and go from Briggs. Looks again, finds the line. It's Kavanagh in support, loses it forward. What can Railway Union do here? Ball's alive. They do look to have advantage. Scuffle McCabe looking to run the ball back. Opted not to go for Keohane and takes it on herself instead.
Railway have options both sides of the pitch here now.
Muldoon at scrum half. It goes to Daisy Earle. Earle through the gap, racing forward now. Staunton waits, the offload goes, it's to Carroll. Nobody's going to stop the Limerick woman from there to score against her native club, and the screams go out loud from the stands and indeed from the players down below. Railway Union have taken the lead. It's Steph Carroll with the score.
That was an absolutely fantastic break by Daisy Earle there in the middle of the pitch. I think there's a very uncharacteristic air of Claude O'Halloran. She kind of thought the player was going to cross her, and Daisy just went for it, saw that little gap and went for it. She showed great composure as well to release that ball at the right time and into the hands of Stephanie Carroll.
A super break from Daisy Earle from midfield all the way through. Very little that Anya Staunton could do for a finish. It was effectively a 3-on-1. But maybe she could have covered across, but she opted to line up Earle. And as you said, here we go. The timing of the release here, absolutely critical. But Carroll wasn't going to be stopped from there, and even if she was, it was a good support line from Lisa Callan too. Massive celebrations in there. They are delighted.
I suppose the hunger and the chase up there from Railway was something that's kind of throughout their game, so that when someone breaks that line, they have support players going with them. And Daisy knew that someone was going to be there shortly, so she just had to bide her time, and she sat down on Staunton.
So, if we are going to expect a backlash from UL Bohs as they gather themselves in the in-goal area, this kick is going to be important for Claire Keohane. Wind playing pretty much across her there, although she is under the stand, which adds a little bit of extra swirl into this. A 5-point advantage. With just over 15 minutes left to play. This has got a chance. No, it's to the right and wide, but still a massive, massive score for Steph Carroll and Railway Union. They lead by 13 points to 8. Now, we're allowed up here. We can, on Railway's behalf, we can dare to dream and say that in a game that has been as close as this, a 5-pointer is going to be absolutely massive. They are in no position to do that. They really need to focus on next play, next possession.
Yeah, I think they need to gather this from the kickoff and just work through the phases. But I think UL, who get their composure back again.
And McDermott takes Taylor, who did look to get some treatment on an injury there. No signs of it here. She barrels through.
And UL Bohs have a new scrum half on. Laura Mahoney's had to go off with them. Helen McDermott on for Bohs at scrum half.
Somehow Kendall and McDermott combine here. It's contested, but Scuff and McCabe goes to Keohane, who put boot to ball. And Considine is under this one, but it's Staunton with the take and the call, which was crucial. And will that unleash Considine? Yes, it will. Carroll tackles by the feet, brings the Ireland winger down. And a little bit of afters here. Interesting exchange there. Lindsay Peat, exactly the kind of player you want in the trenches. And she goes after this one for Sarah Quinn. Hayes back inside to the substitute for UL Bohs, Gina Behan. And it's going to be a UL Bohs ball back here.
I think UL need to regain control of this game now if they're going to try put more points on the board. I think you can see here Niamh Briggs is taking control, composing everyone to try and get back down to the Railway 22.
She's exactly the player you want to stick the ball under her rocks through at a time like this. Playing into that breeze, in under the stand there. Now, in terms of line out, we've seen that when we've been stuck, and it looks like the back row for UL Bohs, Adele Murphy, is going to take this line out. Such a versatile player. You wouldn't be surprised to see her putting the ball on the tee as well if the opportunity arises. But UL are going for the rumble here, and they've found the 22, and McDermott's told to keep her hands out of the cookie jar.
They're
and UL Bohs are still going. Yeah. Good work in there for Railway Union's Amy Clark. And this suits UL Bohs down to the ground at this point.
They're being urged, the pack was being urged to keep that ball in, keep that ball moving. I think you're going to see the same thing again from UL Bohs.
And if Adele Murphy's line out throw is to be relied upon, this is going to be a critical moment for them, particularly as you could have said take your 3 in that situation as well.
I think we see Fee Hayes here jumping a 2.
Fiona Hayes, effective in the line out as lifter and jumper. You've seen it do her for Province as well. It goes to the tail, and it's Taylor who takes. And it looks like we're going to come in for a scrum.
Wasn't straight, so we're going to go for scrum here. Oh, no.
No.
Opted for line out.
Opted for the line out. I suppose that's the set piece they have more faith in, and that's exactly why. A quick line out once again. And it's Emma Murphy who takes.
Got Fee Reedy in there, creating a bit of havoc for Railway.
They'll back themselves to exit with the wind at their backs. Taylor trucks it up. Keohane steps into the pocket. Scuff and McCabe will look to find her. Here we go. This is big because this could drop down into the hands of Niamh Kavanagh.
Yeah,
and off goes Staunton, and there's numbers out wide for UL Bohemian. If they could take it. Breen steps back left when Sheehan was calling for it on the right hand side, and here's Sheehan now. Barely gets 2 steps off before she's put down from Railway Union. Union will need discipline here. It's starting to get messy. Hayes takes the ball away. Charges up, but is tracked all the way by Keohane. Bennett. UL a score down. They've already declined to kick for goal. It's a 5-pointer they want. It's a 7-pointer they'd love. Briggs.
That's into Niamh Kavanagh, really strong runner there. There's a lot of space out in the left wing, but Railway Union's defensive line is set there. They have people on feet.
Pearce goes out wide. It's Sheehan. Had to come in to collect that one, but still finds room to manoeuvre, to wriggle. And that's a huge call in there. Helen O'Reilly whistles in Railway Union's favour. We're back out to the 22. And that's a chance, that's a big chance that's gone a begging for UL Bohemian.
That's a massive turnover for Railway there, and they've got another 10 metres as well for whatever reason.
A couple of choice words perhaps in there.
Potentially to the referee, but
unparliamentary perhaps.
Now you're going to see Claire exit again for Railway, and that is a mass turnover with about 10 minutes left.
This game has been, the intensity right throughout this game has been a lot to handle. You can see the supporters from Dublin and Limerick alike very much on the edge of the blue seats here in Energia Park. And it's Railway who collect.
Bit of an overthrow, but still, I think it was collected there well by Katie O'Dwyer.
That battle between Niamh Briggs and Lindsay Pete has been absolutely fascinating. And Briggs brings Pete down there. They go wide. Kendall has to jump to take. Niamh Byrne was trying to find Steph Carroll. You get the sense there. Well, Emer Considine has been yellow carded for a deliberate knock on. She's going to feel she was just trying to wrap player and ball in there.
Yeah, I think it was a bit harsh. It did come off the forearm of Emer Considine as she was going to make the tackle.
The card was shown. She had nothing to do but make her way to the end, and critically, with 71 minutes on the clock, it does look like UL Bohemian will be down to 14 players for the remainder of the game, in which they trail by 5 points. There isn't a single season of the Women's All-Ireland League where UL Bohemian haven't been front and centre. Railway Union, the newcomers, the Johnny-come-latelys, if you will, their first final, and they lead by 5 with a player advantage and possession 2 with Aoife McDermott. Goes left,
good offload,
finds Murphy. No hint of nerves here. Fiona Reedy has to roll away. McDermott has been safe hands and a willing receiver throughout this game. It's giving Keohane the space to see what's on behind. And indeed she goes behind. Pete with the flat pass, but it was too much to ask Emma O'Mahony to run onto at this stage.
It's a great tackle there by Laura Sheehan, who came on off her wing there to shut down Emer O'Mahony.
Massive timing there as well. I think that's actually been given forward.
So a forward pass there from Lindsay, trying to push that ball into space, but again the wind probably took it forward a bit, as is the strength of it today.
So given the position the Railway Union were in, they were starting to find space. They had options deep and flat, but it's Bohs now on the halfway line, 6 minutes to play, chasing this game, but doing so from the set piece, which has been so effective for them, albeit less so in the second half, it must be said.
And for this opportunity, they're without Emer Considine, so they're going to have to keep it narrow. So again, it's going to be Niamh Kavanagh or an Enya Breen head up. again, we said earlier, there's a lot of youth throughout the team and a lot of young players coming through the system from under 18s over the past couple of years. And there's Interpros on tomorrow. It's the Mullingar, the sevens is on. So I want to say best luck firstly to the Leinster girls who I've been out with a couple of times in training sessions. But it's great that there's that talent coming through, and again there's so much coming through from underage, and it's putting pressure on other teams to get their underage structures together, and you need that feed with the girls rugby playing. Yeah. So
I was at the first round of that in Barnhall. Players absolutely loved it, spectators loved it. It was a great day of action. If anyone is around Westmeath or within striking distance of it tomorrow, get yourself to Mullingar. No matter where you are from, you'll have a province to cheer on, because they'll all be playing each other's 3 rounds of games tomorrow in Mullingar from the afternoon. The fact that the 2 rounds are relatively close together as well also means that they had some work-ons to get done in between the 2 rounds as well, which is great. But that's the future of Irish rugby, both for tomorrow and for the players and their careers. Right now, there's a Women's All-Ireland League title on the line, and Claire Cohan, last year on the bench for UL Bohs, this year a starter for the opposition. What can she do? Takes on former teammate Anya Staunton, rock solid in there. The ball should go back to the new scrum half for UL Bohs. It goes to Sarah Quinn. Neutralised somewhat, you'd have to say, by the performance of Taylor and Murphy in particular for Railway Union this second half. Not that I wouldn't give Lindsay Peat a mention, as she goes straight in on Clodagh O'Halloran. Pearce, very, very difficult player to put down, but the numbers work. A strike run there for Niamh Kavanagh, but can't break the line. That's McDermott. UL Bohs starting to go backwards a little bit here, and fighting in there, trying to get the turnover is Amy Clark. Staunton, Breen driving hard, still going. It's Muldoon eventually trying to put her down. Bohs are out of their half. That's Adele Murphy there.
They need to get to these rucks quicker. I think Railway are getting hands in, hands on.
Reedy with the carry. Taylor in there looking for the jackal. Briggs.
Again, Niamh Kavanagh, another powerful strike run. Again, finding Emma Taylor.
And she's just taking it up the middle every time, and it's working. Because that's the 10-metre line, and the 22 is the next piece of territory that UL Bohemians are going to have to breach. They go left. There's no Emer Considine, but there is Sarah Quinn. It's Richmond versus Richmond, and it's the Railway Union, former Limerick and Richmond player, who wins that contest.
So it's deemed that Stephanie Carroll has taken that ball out over the touchline, so it's a UL Bohs line out.
Well, it was right there in for the contest. You'd still feel that Union will be happier with the result in that exchange, as they take it quickly, as they tend to do. No pause for breath on the pitch or in the commentary position. Here's Bennett, putting her backside there.
The space out there on the right hand side. Niamh Kavanagh's out there. Anya Staunton wants the ball.
But they'll need support. McDermott, Kavanagh. What a player to bring off the bench, the former Ireland international. That's McDermott, the replacement scrum half. Strength and depth will have a hole in this one. Briggs tried to do something different. The gamble hasn't paid off, but the penalty advantage was there. We spoke about Briggs having the best boot in the game, certainly in the second half with the wind the way it's been. She's been very happy to just be a link player for the back line.
Yeah, and I think she's doing it well, especially given the wind today. Claire Cohan, though, is playing the territory incredibly well for Railway, and she has got them down to that UL 22 quite frequently throughout the game. But no, Briggs is managing this kicking game for UL in the second half against a very strong wind very well.
Definite concern here for UL Bohs, as Niamh Kavanagh has to shrug this one off, because she was the back cover on the bench, and Emer Considine is sitting out the rest of this Women's All-Ireland League final. This could be time to get off the pot for UL Bohs, but it's Railway in possession. Another massive take at line-out time. Now it's about the exit. If Keohane can put boot to ball here,
I think
she'll have the
UL will
wind at
just
her
be
back.
holding on to this ball now for the next minute and a half. It won't be extravagant, but it'll be safe.
Well, I don't think, I have to say the conditioning for both teams has to be complimented here, because there's no sign of flagging on either side. Much easier to do when you have the ball, and that's what Railway are going to do. They go for the clearance. Keohane didn't get all of that, but she did find touch. This game isn't over yet, but we are approaching the final minute. It would be unfair to call this game an arm wrestle, because there's been plenty of skill in there too. I think fair to say we've had the best two teams in club rugby across the 4 provinces reach this decider as well. And Emma Murphy, well, that trick play has not worked for UL Bohemian, because Emma Murphy was in the air but scooped down and grabbed that one, and the ball is green.
Helen O'Reilly is saying that ball is available. That's it.
And the full-time whistle has blown here at Energia Park, and Railway Union, their first final, their first victory. They are Women's All-Ireland League champions on a scoreline of 38. Such a tight game, so many marginal decisions that have seen it go left and right. Michelle Claffey, have we seen worthy winners here at Energia Park?
Yeah, I really think so. Like, UL probably didn't take the chance when it was there, and Railway's discipline defensive was fantastic for the whole first half. And that break by Daisy Earle and the support play by the team just shows how well Railway are drilled.
You can look back on so many moments in this game. That Earle break, the Richmond contest down here in the corner, where a number 8 was put into touch by a winger who was certainly outmatched in terms of size. Right there, the last moment, Emma Murphy grabbing that line out of absolutely nowhere. True too, particularly in the second half. UL Bows utterly dominant in certain areas of the game. Looked like that was a platform that they could kick onto. The 2 yellow cards, the fact that UL Bows operated for 3/4 of this game with just 14 players does seem to be telling as well.
And I suppose it was a back and a forward, so it affected both their set piece initially in the first half, and obviously the start of the second half with Fiona Reedy off. But I have to say, Railway Union's Emma Murphy was fantastic within the lineouts for Railway, and she consistently stole the ball for Railway when UL Bows had it in their hands and just whipped it from them.
Well, you can stay with us for the next couple of minutes. We will hope to bring you the trophy presentations as they happen. In the meantime, we're only too happy to hear from you on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter as to your thoughts there. Anne-Marie Breen Crescamano says, Rugby Lecco salutes you. Noel Chyahan says something that I can't really understand, but a massive congratulations from everybody at Wasps Ladies. We're delighted for you all. That's interesting, given that part of the ramp up for Railway Union for this game was indeed a trip over to play Wasps, which they said was telling in how they negotiated the semi-final, and has obviously served them well into the final as well.
Yeah, and I think that they got a taste of a different type of rugby and a different type that they can expect to play in the Premiership. They're on another level, so it was great for them to get that experience, but also to have the connection of Cleena Maloney and Claire Malloy both play over there. So it was nice that the link across, I suppose, across the Irish Sea is there for Railway and them.
I think fair to say Wasps, friends of Irish rugby at this stage. If you can go back 20 years to Wasps playing Shannon in Thomond Park, actually. And it's those kind of link-ups that, if you look at the men's side of it, those kind of games were eventually what helped to bring about the European Cup. That's perhaps a conversation for another day, because right now we should look at the absolute elation down there for this Railway Union team after what's been a long campaign, a hard campaign. You consider they've gone through 41 players. They had to concede a game to Galwegians at one point, which, you know, proved difficult in itself, but they've managed to bounce back from whatever troubles they've had along the way. And I think we've had, for this season certainly, worthy Women's All-Ireland League winners.
I definitely agree with that, and they've been very good over the past number of years, and they've built a very good squad, and they have a nice way of playing as well. Like, they have a nice offload between Meg Kendall, Lindsay Peat, Aoife McDermott. Like, it's a great brand that they own and they have. I'm sure UL will be very disappointed in seeing them down there in their huddle, but these ladies have 13 titles behind their name, and this is Railway's first, and you can see how much it means to them. It's good that there's other teams coming through within Irish rugby. I know UL say that the trophy's coming home, and that's what they said last year, and this would have been their third one in a row, and this would have been they're going for the triple, so they've won the Munster Cup and they've won the All-Ireland Cup. So it's great that Railway have come through, and that their brand of rugby and that their tenacity, I suppose, at the breakdown, and their discipline was very good throughout the game too.
Old Belvedere, the beaten finalists, up against them the last couple of years, they bowed out in the semi-final stage. They can say at this point they bowed out to the winners. Indeed, Railway Union were very, very strong that day, and again, that's something they've brought with them through to the through to the final, I should say. Looking back on the league as a whole, Michelle, you look at the the four semi-finalists that were there. UL Bohs finishing top, although as far as I can remember, Railway led an awful lot, particularly in the lead up to Christmas. Belleville coming on strong. A big part of that was those back-to-back wins over Railway Union, actually, in the league. And Blackrock, a team, your team, with no matter who your head coach is, year one is year one. And a team that managed to reach both the cup final and the semi-finals of the league. This is a summer of contemplation, whether you win or lose. For a team like Railway Union, though, this breakthrough does seem significant in terms of what they would look to build on, because it has been coming. Another one final, one win. That's massive.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. They've got a lot of influx of players, I suppose, through the Irish Sevens, and they've a lot of players in the representative 15s, and they have players also in Leinster and Munster setups. So it's not unsurprising that they're here, and it's not unsurprising that they've done so well this year. It may be their first final, but it's not unsurprising that they have won today. They have quality there, they have depth there, and I think throughout the year, with the Irish girls withdrawn for certain parts of the season due to the November Interros and due to the Six Nations, that they could fill these roles with other experienced players, and they weren't lagging in terms of their experience. So a lot of players, they might have used an amount of players, but they have the depth there in Railway through building up their squad over the past number of years, and they've done a good job of building the experience within the team and the confidence, because you see there those couple of kicks gone through. Daisy Earle had that great break, and they knew what to do. They know how to play off each other. So I think that's very important, that it's not people being dropped back in, but they have an understanding of what the team does.
Yeah, and if we look at that starting 15, and you mentioned something which I think is particularly relevant to Railway Union, which is the mix of not just 15s internationals but 7s as well. Stephanie Carroll, Niamh Byrne, Claire Keohane, Molly Scuffle McCabe, Chloe Blackmore, Emma Murphy. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in their starting 15 with international experience at 7s level. Add in 2 current 15s internationals in Lindsay Peat and Aoife McDermott, and Larissa Muldoon is a veteran of 2 World Cups and plenty more besides. That role that 7s has in the development of players for 7s and indeed for 15s, and you contrast then with now there are players for UL Bohs who do have that 7s experience as well. You look at Laura Sheehan and Laura Mahoney and Emer Considine as well, but Briggs and Considine, they both have 7s experience, but that was on their journey to becoming 15s players. It's just very interesting that on one side of the country to the other side of the country, you have 2 different teams with 2 different approaches, developing in very different ways.
Yeah, and I suppose it's the skill set and the attacking the space that's required when you come from the 7s 15, and there's a lot less space in a 15s pitch than there is a 7s pitch, so you don't get it. Yeah, you don't get away with a lot more. They've all taken different approaches, but like that, Niamh Briggs is 15s before 7s. Emer Constantine came from 7s, and she's flourishing in the 15s game, and she has been fantastic and one of the standout players for Ireland in this year's Six Nations.
So you can see at this point the floodgates have opened in terms of supporters out onto the pitch. Don't worry, the 4G can take it, but we are going to have We are going to roll with you and stay with these celebrations. If you've been with us for the 80 minutes of rugby, you're very, very welcome to stay with us to see that very, very special moment for Railway Union, particularly for those who are tuned in from around the world. We were hoping for a big crowd here in Energia Park, first and foremost. Certainly a very, very noisy crowd, but we're very glad to be able to bring you the action whether you're here or not. I must have to say, that smile of Shirley Corcoran in the line there, absolutely jumping out. The very idea that, as you mentioned, this is potentially her last game for Railway Union, and she went, she was carried out in her shield after 55 minutes,
Yeah, and it's very special for Shirley, I suppose. She would have had a couple with a couple of couplings with Blackrock before she joined Railway, so she knows how to win as well.
Daisy Earle there, called into action early on in that first half. And
congratulations to the two coaching teams.
So good.
As well as the coaching teams, there's a lot of mentors on both teams. A lot of parents who are at every game, every second game. Strong line on the rest of the country. It's great to get to a final after a year where you put in a lot of road miles. Jonas, looking forward to getting you up here, but not to me.
so
Had a great year. Unfortunately, not today. It's a big day
So-
for Railway Union.
the speeches are continuing here.
I looked at the cup last night. One team has their name on it an awful lot. There's other teams generally in ones and twos. And now your name is on it. Congratulations. You want to come up and you can start bringing the team up? I get a report.
So Niamh Byrne, the first to make her way to the winner's enclosure. That's not the wrong phrase because this isn't a horse racing meet. But it will be Niamh Byrne, the captain, who will call up these players one by one to claim that hard-earned medal. Railway Union are such an organised team. They do also appear to be accepting their medals in formation. That's quite impressive, it must be said. But Niamh Byrne, very popular captain, has always been very happy to speak to IRFU TV when that opportunity has arisen as well.
And I suppose Niamh was injured as well for part of the season, so she made her first game back for the play final against Old Belvo. So it's great to see her play the full game here today, return from injury.
UL Bohs in the top left-hand corner of your screen. They've been the ones to accept the trophy on so many occasions. You can just imagine them all adding this as fuel to the fire for the 2019-2020 campaign. Not sure what kind of speech Niamh Byrne has prepared and whether we're going to hear it or not. But typically gracious, giving her thanks to UL Bohs for the game. Already looking forward to the 2019-2020 campaign. It's one of the great things about club rugby in particular. There's always next year. And there you have it. A very, very special moment for Railway Union. The trophies lifted aloft. Champions of the Women's All-Ireland League for 2018-2019. They've earned their opportunity to celebrate. And indeed they will. I suppose we should maybe start summing up this game intensity from minute 1 to minute 80. We've decided that we've had worthy winners as well. But that's just, maybe just to finish on the standard we've seen here today, and where that sits in terms of club rugby. I mean, you operate at club, province, and international. This is some good stuff to see out here.
Yeah, and it was a very intense game. It was interesting. People took their chances, and there's a nice few breaks throughout the game. But also the skill level, they were pushing the ball wide even when they shouldn't, given the conditions, and it worked out. The ball got out into space there for Laura Sheehan, Emer Considine, and then you saw the kicking game as well of Claire Keohane, and they say that there's not enough kicking in Irish rugby, and I think that was definitely stamped out today. Like, the kicking game was really good, especially Claire in the second half, and Briggs in the first half. But even kicking for touch, they made their touches, and it was good, and they got them down the pitch, and they played it safe when they had to. So I think the decision making and the method in which the both teams got through the game and played to their strengths was a very good reflection of the place that Irish rugby is in at the club level.
Absolutely fabulous to have you in the commentary position this afternoon. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it, Michelle.
I had a great time. Thank you.
And we'll leave you to this one, as indeed the celebrations of Railway Union will kick on into the night. They are the champions of the Women's All-Ireland League for 2018-2019 on a final score of Railway Union 13, UL Bohemian 8. Thank you and have a good afternoon.